After marriage, I've been blamed by my in-laws for not being able to have children. Finally, when a child was born, I was ostracized again because it's a girl. Moreover, my husband doesn't support me at all. Then my husband sent a picture of our child to a group WhatsApp with my in-laws.
She is cute, unlike my wife.
I was so angry at my husband's comments that I decided to expose his secret. Because that child is your mistress's child. My in-laws seem confused, writing, "Huh?" In the end, things are going to get really difficult for my husband's family. My name is Monica Stone, and I'm 32 years old. I am a hard-working office worker. I'm in the 5th year of marriage with my husband, and we have a 1-month-old daughter named Molly. Our family of 3 live in an apartment. After marriage, we struggled for some time to have a child. It was a source of great distress for us. Finally, during that difficult period, I gave birth to a daughter. That's why I find Molly, whom I gave birth to with great pain, irresistibly adorable. However, it seems that both my in-laws and my husband are dissatisfied with me for giving birth to Molly. My husband, Hank, was a classmate of mine from high school. In high school, he was a refreshingly good-looking guy, cheerful and sociable, popular with both boys and girls alike. He was so popular that girls even formed a fan club for him. Although I didn't join the fan club, I secretly admired Hank as well, thinking he was cool. However, I was quite shy back then, so I never approached Hank, and we weren't particularly close during our school days. I met Hank again at a reunion, and we quickly became friends. My friend Sarah was the bridge between us. Sarah was also a classmate from high school, and she was very beautiful. She had a slim figure like a model, and her facial features were like those of a doll. Sarah married a doctor at the age of 23 and lived a luxurious life. When I asked her why she introduced me to Hank, she replied, "Because you seemed to get along well," and that was that. Isn't Hank kind and handsome? But it seems like he's not dating anyone. It seems like there are many women who are only interested in his looks, and he's having a hard time. Since it's a good opportunity, I thought I'd try to set you up with him, Monica. You used to like Hank back in the day, right? Well, I guess you could say that I liked him, but why me? Sarah, you have many beautiful friends, so wouldn't it have been better to introduce him to one of them? Then she spoke more firmly. Because you're my best friend, Monica, that's why. I think you and Hank are a perfect match. Both of you are kind and caring. I think you two could be a great couple. Being praised like that by Sarah made me feel a little embarrassed. What surprised me even more was that Hank had also been aware of me.
I've always liked you, Monica, because you're so modest. I was too embarrassed to confess at that time.
Saying that, he started to approach me more actively. As Sarah said, he looks good, and he seems like he would be kind as a partner. Gradually, I found myself more and more drawn to him. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and before we knew it, we were getting married. I was truly happy. However, I had some concerns about my marriage to Hank. He is the eldest son of a traditional dyer, and he is expected to take over his family's business. In the early days of our marriage, we lived separately in an apartment near his family's home, but it was decided that eventually we would live with them. To gradually adapt to his family's customs, we had to attend family meals every weekend. At first, my in-laws were kind and considerate to me. My mother-in-law, for example, even said, "I'm so glad I have a daughter." However, later on, I've come to realize that these statements were just flattery. At first, there were no issues, but gradually around the 3rd year of our marriage, my in-laws started asking,
"When will you have children? Are we still not going to see the face of our grandchild? Neither I nor my wife are getting any younger. It would be troubling if we were gone and then a grandchild was born."
In response to my father-in-law's sigh-filled words, my mother-in-law also expresses agreement.
"Your father is right. Hank is the eldest son, so you have to have children. When are you going to get pregnant? You need to have children as soon as possible. An older birth is a disgraceful thing.
They constantly blame me for not being able to have children. It's as if they're implying it's my fault for not being able to conceive. I was fed up with being blamed during our weekly meals together. Even if I'm blamed for it, children are a gift, so there's nothing we can do about it, right? Even when I appealed to Hank, expressing my desire to distance ourselves from his parents, he sided with them.
You're the wife, so you should just go along with my parents. I married you because you seemed quiet, so don't complain. Isn't it natural for my dad and mom to want grandchildren?
In this way, he ends up scolding me instead. This is something I found out after we got married, but Hank seems to think of me as little more than a housekeeper who will do whatever he wants. Even though we both work, all housework is left to me. Even when I ask for help, he turns a deaf ear and insists that housework is the wife's job. Moreover, he frequently goes out to drink with friends or on trips, enjoying himself while I stay home. I regretted marrying Hank because it wasn't supposed to be like this. Up until we got married, I didn't realize he was so selfish. And even after that, I struggled, but it wasn't until our 3rd year of marriage that I finally got pregnant. With this, I felt relieved to be freed from my in-laws, have a grandchild calls. Hank and my in-laws were also overjoyed about this. At that time, my company was so busy that I often didn't get home until midnight. On top of that, I did all the housework after returning home and hosted dinners at my in-laws' house on weekends. I did almost all the preparations for the dinners. I might have pushed myself too hard, even though I wasn't in a stable condition yet. I collapsed at work, and as a result, I lost the baby. Despite me being the one who was the most upset and depressed, my in-laws directed their anger towards me.
Honestly, how can you take care of our heir like this? Collapsing over something so trivial and causing trouble, you're truly a useless wife.
My mother-in-law berates me while my father-in-law makes snide remarks.
I must have made a mistake in choosing a bride. To think she couldn't even bear children properly.
It's been quite a scolding. Who do they think is to blame for my collapse in the first place? Even though it was my in-laws who exploited me during the pregnancy, surprisingly, I wasn't blamed by Hank. Even though he's usually cold, for some reason he comforted me at that time.
It couldn't be helped this time. Luck just wasn't on our side. Let's try again, because it might work this time.
On this rare occasion, when he spoke kindly, I felt like crying. Sweetie, thank you. Relieved, the following year I was able to conceive again. Perhaps the difficulty in conceiving was indeed due to overwork and stress. For the second time, I took good care of my body and avoided pushing myself too hard. As soon as I started maternity leave, I returned to my parents' home, and there I finally gave birth to my daughter. Being able to give birth to our long-awaited child filled me with deep happiness. However, when Hank and my mother-in-law came to visit me at the maternity hospital, they began to say something unsettling.
Doesn't she look nothing like me? Is she really my child?
I was shocked by my husband's words. What are you saying? Of course she's your child, isn't it obvious?
Well, she's not that cute, you know. I mean, I don't have such a wrinkled face. Even though she's a girl, she looks like a wrinkled monkey, doesn't she?
She's just born, so it's natural for her to be wrinkled. Besides, you used to have a face like a little monkey when you were a kid. Instead of reflecting on my words, Hank reacted with irritation.
What's your problem? You don't need to get so angry. You're such a narrow-minded woman.
With that retort, Hank stormed out of the hospital room. I hoped my mother-in-law, who remained behind, would say something to ease the tension, but she wasn't that kind of person.
A girl, huh? What a disappointment. She's just going to get married and leave eventually, so she's useless. Just a money pit. I want you to have a boy next time who can be our heir.
With those words, my mother-in-law stormed out of the hospital room. I felt like something inside me snapped. I thought I was hopeless. After returning home and explaining the situation to my parents, they were furious at my in-laws. It may have been inappropriate, but I was happy that my parents were angry on my behalf. It felt even worse not being able to tell the truth to my parents who had been happy about my marriage. My parents told me,
"Stay at home until you feel better."
And they even suggested that I should consider leaving Hank. While I was at my parents' house, I received multiple calls from Hank and my in-laws. However, what they had to say was not reassuring. Hank demanded chores like,
"The room is dirty. Come back soon and make dinner."
While my in-laws arrogantly ordered me around, saying,
"Being pregnant is no excuse to rest."
And,
"If you're a wife, help with our family business."
I was fed up with my selfish in-laws, who didn't even care about my well-being. Why had I endured this for 5 years from people like them? Around 3 weeks after giving birth, I decided to leave. I packed my things, asked my mother to take care of my daughter, and returned home with my father. I had been wondering what to do when meeting up with Hank, but fortunately, he was busy. When I returned home, I thought I should quickly finish my tasks to avoid any trouble. However, upon entering the room, something felt off. There was a scent of woman's perfume in the air. And it was a fragrance I had smelled somewhere before. I thought it might be my mother-in-law, but she didn't usually wear perfume. I had heard stories of husbands cheating on their wives during pregnancy. Feeling uneasy, I asked my father to pack up and began examining my husband's computer. I had a hunch about the password. I had seen Hank enter the password on his computer while cleaning before. The password he used was his car's license plate number. I immediately opened the computer and searched its contents, but nothing suspicious came up. I checked the history, but there was nothing strange. I wondered, am I overthinking? Then I suddenly found a folder labeled S-Guy. My woman's intuition kicked in, and I intuitively thought, there's a secret in this folder. As I checked the folder, I was shocked for a while. After being stunned for a while, I became hot with anger. After packing all the data onto a USB, I finished packing with my father and quietly left the room. A week later, a photo was sent to the group What's Up with my in-laws. It was a picture of a baby drooling and sleeping peacefully.
"She looks so beautiful sleeping. She's cute, not resembling Monica at all."
My in-laws immediately commented on Hank's post.
"She really seems to be sleeping comfortably. I feel like she resembles you, Hank."
My father-in-law commented in a relaxed, easygoing manner. Then my mother-in-law followed.
"Suddenly the baby seems to have grown a lot, hasn't she? Monica, are you feeding her too much? You can't give a baby too much milk."
Even at a time like this, when they speak ill of me, it somehow intrigues me. I was on the verge of bursting into laughter at my in-laws' rare comments. Why do they feel so carefree to express such odd opinions about this photo? No matter how you look at it, the baby in this picture seems to be about 3 months old. Meanwhile, my daughter is still only 1 month old. No matter how much milk she drinks, she wouldn't suddenly grow so much. I immediately sent a message to the group What's Up. You're sending the wrong picture.
"Huh? Monica?"
Hank, sending a message in his agitation, seemed surprised that I was checking What's Up. Meanwhile, my in-laws appeared puzzled, asking, "Wrong?" Before Hank could come up with any excuses, I decided to reveal the truth. That baby couldn't possibly resemble me, right? After all, that child is the offspring of his affair. After my message, there was silence for a while. Nobody replied. A few minutes later, my in-laws sent confused messages like, "Affair? What's going on?" In response, someone hastily began making excuses.
"No, I mistook it for a picture of a friend's child. Monica, don't say weird things. There's no way I have a lover."
Ignoring his desperate attempts to justify himself, I sent another message. "I know everything, so there's no need to deceive me. I'm divorcing you. Let's settle alimony and child support through lawyers." Without waiting for a response, after sending the messages, I left the group What's Up. While preparing for a divorce at my parents' house, my in-laws and Hank came over. Hank looked pale and my in-laws wore stern expressions. Then he started pleading.
"Hey, what are you suddenly talking about divorce for? I'm telling you that picture is a misunderstanding. Think it over."
After he called me and started lying, I was astonished. If he's going to be like that, then I'll do everything thoroughly for my end too. I went back home once and brought something with me. They were pieces of evidence of Hank's infidelity exchanged on his computer. There were snapshots with other women, emails planning cheating trips, and lovey-dovey WhatsApp exchanges with his mistress. As I showed them, the expressions of my in-laws worsened even more. But most of all, the identity of his affair partner was the problem. By the way, honey, how does it feel that you and Sarah have been cheating on me since before we were married? Hank's affair partner turned out to be none other than the classmate of mine who introduced him to me. She was originally dating Hank, but when she was proposed to by a doctor, she switched to him for money. However, even after becoming married, Sarah continued her relationship with Hank. She deliberately recommended him to me so she could continue playing with him while living a lavish life. According to their WhatsApp messages, Sarah also has a child who seems to be Hank's. That was the true identity of the baby Hank posted on WhatsApp. With no way out, Hank, being blamed by my in-laws, was facing accusations like,
"What are you doing?"
and
"Cheating?"
In his desperation, he looked at me as if seeking salvation.
"Monica, please forgive me. I wasn't serious about Sarah. It was just a fling between us. If you wish, I'll never meet Sarah again. So please don't talk about divorce."
I looked at him with cold eyes as he desperately spoke. Did he really think I would reconsider divorce because of those words? Of course, I rejected Hank's pleas. No way. It's been tough since I married you. You don't help with household chores, and you always side with your parents. And to top it off, cheating? There's no way I can stay married to a man like you.
That's true, but...
No excuses. Putting up a picture of your affair partner's child on WhatsApp is just outrageous. I can manage just fine as a single mother since I also earn a decent income. Never come near me and my daughter again. After saying that, I kicked both of my in-laws out of the house. Afterward, I filed for divorce and demanded alimony and child support from Hank. Furthermore, I reported the affair to Sarah's husband. As a result of her husband requesting a DNA test, it was confirmed that the child was not Hank's, but indeed her own. She had lied to Hank to keep him tied to her. Upon discovering the infidelity, Sarah was divorced and kicked out of the house. It seems that Sarah's husband will be awarded custody of the child. Although my in-laws ran a dying business, the poor quality of work ultimately led to bankruptcy. Already on the brink with debts, Hank's affair was the final blow. Eventually, they had to sell off the house and land, and after paying compensation to me and Sarah's husband, there was reportedly nothing left. Hank now works in a labor-intensive factory, while his parents make ends meet with casual labor and part-time jobs. The monthly child support is paid from Hank's salary. I, on the other hand, am doing my best as a single mother while watching my daughter grow up at home. My parents also love my daughter dearly, and we enjoy peaceful and happy days. I want to protect this happiness forever.